guys, and welcome back to another session of control and coordination. Yes guys, we have already discussed the major topics of control and coordination. Generally the basic topic, I can say. The basic things you need to learn in control and coordination. We discussed about the structure of a nerve cell or a neuron. We discussed about the axon, dendrites, and your cyton or cell body. All these things are very clear to you guys. And I have already told you about the three types of neuron. What are they? Come on, let me know. What are the three types of neuron, guys, which we discussed in the last class? Can you tell me? Yes, of course, very correct. It is sensory neurons, motor neurons, and mixed neurons or association neurons. Yes, so we already discussed the three types of neuron, and sensory neurons acts as a detector also we studied, and motor neurons, it carries the messages back from the brain. All these things we discussed. Today I am going to tell you about something about nerves. Yes, and we all know that nerves, it's a thread-like structure. Now guys, we have studied it's a thread-like structure which is spread throughout our body from head to toe. It's simply the thread-like structure. So what do we call nerves as? A thread-like structure which is extended from head to toe of our body. That is nothing but nerves. But guys, these nerves can be categorized into three types. Yes, these nerves are again, it's differentiated into three categories. What are the three categories? Can anyone have the idea regarding that nerves? Three categories. Can anyone? No one. Let me speak to you. So the three types of nerves are cranial nerves. Yes, listen to me carefully. Cranial nerves, spinal nerves, and visceral nerves. So guys, what are the three types of nerves? Cranial nerves, spinal nerves, and visceral nerves. Once again, what are the three types of nerves? Cranial nerves, C-R-A-N-I-A-L, cranial nerves, spinal nerves, and your visceral nerves. What is this cranial nerves? What is this spinal nerves? And what is this visceral nerves? So let me tell you. What are cranial nerves? Cranial nerves are that pair of nerves or that thread-like structure which arises from the brain. First thing clear? Cranial nerves. What is exactly cranium is? Cranium is actually the outer covering of the brain. Cranium, the word cranium is extracted from where? The cranium means the outer covering of the brain, and the nerves which arises from the brain is called as your cranial nerves, and there are 12 pairs of cranial nerves. How many pairs of cranial nerves are there, guys? Yes, 12 pairs of cranial nerves are there. Understood? There are exactly three types of nerves we are speaking about. They are cranial nerves, spinal nerves, and the third one is your visceral nerves. Once again with me. Spinal nerves, cranial nerves, visceral nerves. Cranial nerves, spinal nerves, and visceral nerves. Cranial nerves arises from the brain. Yes, and how many pairs? 12 pairs of cranial nerves are present. How many pairs are there? 12 pairs of cranial nerves are present. It arises from the brain and it collects the nerve impulse or sends the nerve impulse from the upper part of the body. Upper part of the body in the sense head, neck, and trunk. From these three areas, it receives the impulse and sends back the messages. So, which works in this area? Cranial nerves. Cranial nerves, how many pairs of cranial? First thing, cranial nerves means it arises from the brain. Done. Second one, how many pairs of cranial nerves are there? 12 pairs of cranial nerves are there. From where it works? It works from the upper part of the body, your head, neck, and trunk. Hope you are clear about cranial nerves. Once again, how many pairs of nerves? 3 pairs of nerves are there. What exactly it is? Cranial nerves, spinal nerves, and visceral nerves. Cranial means arising from the brain, 12 pairs of cranial nerves, and it receives the messages and sends back the messages from the upper part of the body, that to head, neck and trunk. Done. Now let's move on to the second type of the nerves, that is nothing but your spinal nerves. Of course, you can easily get spinal nerves means the nerves which are arising from the spinal cord. Yes, the nerves arising from the spinal cord connecting the rest part of our body, rest parts of our muscle, rest part of the skin is called as your spinal nerves. So what are spinal nerves? Spinal nerves are the pair of nerves. Listen to me carefully. Spinal nerves are the pair of nerves arising from the spinal cord. Yes, spinal nerves are the pair of the nerves arising from the spinal cord, and it works in the area of other parts of our skin, other parts of our muscles, other parts of our body. Yes, what are spinal nerves got? The nerves, the pair of nerves arising from the spinal cord connecting the other parts of our body like muscles and skin. And how many pairs of spinal nerves are there? It's exactly 31 pairs of spinal nerves are there. Cranial, kitna tha? 12 pairs. And your spinal, 31 pairs of spinal nerves are present, and it works in the rest part of our body. Clear? Now the third types of the nerves is your visceral nerves. What do you mean by visceral? Come on, let me know. What do you mean by visceral, guys? Nothing. Internal organs. Yes, visceral nerves means the nerves connecting the internal inside organs of our body. Yes, and it consists of both your brain, yes, and spinal cord. Yes, it collects the information, receives the information, sends back the messages. All works are under the control of your brain and spinal cord. So, visceral nerves involves your brain and spinal nerves even. And visceral nerves are the nerves arising from the internal organs of our body. Number of internal organs are there inside our body. Heart, kidney, yes. So, all these are internal organs, and visceral means internal organs. So the nerves arising from the visceral organs or internal organs from the body, and it involves both the spinal nerves as well as your cranial nerves. Got it? Once again, so nerves are nothing but thread-like structure extending from head to toe. Done. How many types of your nerves are there? 3 types. What are they? Cranial nerves, spinal nerves and visceral nerves. Cranial nerves, how many pairs? 12 pairs of cranial nerves are there, and cranial nerves arises from the brain, and it receives and sends back the information from the upper part of the body like your head, neck and trunk. Clear? Second one is your spinal nerves, and how many pairs, guys? 31. Yes, and these nerves arises from the spinal cord and connecting the rest part of our muscles and body or skin. Yes, visceral nerves, both your brain and spinal cord, and mostly it connects the internal organs. Hope you guys are now clear about the various types of nerves. Now let's move on to the important section of this, that is the nervous system and the working of the nervous system. Nervous system, guys. Spontaneously and very broadly and clearly, this nervous system can be divided into 2 types. They are peripheral nervous system and your central nervous system. Can you see it, guys? Yes? So there are 2 types of, it's broadly classified into 2 types. Your nervous systems is broadly classified into 2 types. What are the 2 types? They are your peripheral nervous system and central nervous system. Once again, shall I repeat? Yes, of course, for you guys. So your nervous system is divided into or broadly classified into 2 types. Peripheral nervous system. Yes, the first one is your peripheral nervous system and the second one is your central nervous system. Yes, central nervous system, a huge term. It involves the huge organ called brain and spinal cord. Yes, guys, the central nervous system involves your brain and spinal cord, which we will read in a clear manner in the next video. Yes, so for the time being, you don't focus on central nervous system now. But in this video, we are going to discuss about the peripheral nervous system. Yes, understood? Nervous system divided into how many categories, guys? Peripheral nervous system and CNS, central nervous system. Central nervous system includes your brain and spinal cord. Clear? Now leave the central nervous system. Let's move on to your peripheral nervous system. The word itself suggests, guys, it is present in the periphery side of our body. Periphery, corners of our body. Yes, the peripheral nervous system are the thread-like structure or the nervous system which are present in the periphery side of our body. Yes, and this peripheral nervous system also involves your sensory neurons and motor neurons, of course. Without this sensory and motor neurons, how come the nervous system work? How come the message will be transmitted? How can we get back the reply from our nervous system, from our central nervous system? Got it? Clear? Yes, so this peripheral nervous system exists in the periphery side of the body and it involves both your sensory neurons as well as your motor neurons. Yes, it involves both your sensory neurons and also known as motor neurons. Yes, this peripheral nervous system involves your sensory neurons and motor neurons. And again, guys, these peripheral nervous systems are divided into two types. Voluntary nervous system and involuntary nervous system. Once again, peripheral nervous system where it is present, periphery of the body. Second point, it involves both the sensory neurons as well as the motor neurons. Thirdly, this peripheral nervous system are again divided into two types. Yes, it's again divided into two types, that is voluntary nervous system and involuntary nervous system. And this voluntary nervous system can also be called as your somatic nervous system. What is the other name of voluntary nervous system? Somatic nervous system. What is the other name of voluntary nervous system? Somatic, S-O-M-A-T-I-C, somatic nervous system. And involuntary nervous system can also be called as autonomic nervous system. Understood? Peripheral nervous system again divided into two types. Yes, what are it? Your voluntary nervous system and involuntary. Voluntary nervous system, involuntary nervous system. Voluntary nervous system can also be called as your somatic nervous system and involuntary nervous system can also be called as your autonomic nervous system. Understood? Clear? So, this voluntary and this somatic nervous system are dealing with the skeletal muscles of our body. Yes, are dealing with the skeletal muscles of the day, whereas this involuntary or autonomic nervous system takes part all the internal metabolic activity. It deals with the digestion, salivation. Yes, which is not under our control, guys. Can we control our digestion process inside our body? No. Can we control the beating of our heart? No, exactly not. So that all comes under your involuntary nervous system or autonomic nervous system. So first let's see what is this voluntary nervous system or somatic nervous system. As I told, it deals with the skeletal muscles. Yes, whatever the skeletal work we are doing. Coughing. Yes, you're sneezing, blinking your eyes. All these comes under your voluntary nervous and somatic nervous system. That means voluntary nervous system or somatic nervous system is under the control of our will. Yes. So The very word voluntary nervous system clearly describes that the action which is under our control, which is under our will. Such actions are called as voluntary nervous system, or such response is called as your voluntary nervous system. What exactly is voluntary nervous system or somatic nervous system? It's under the control of our will. It's up to us. It's our choice. Yes, voluntarily we are going to do it. So it's called as your voluntary nervous system or somatic. It's under the control of our will. Highlighted here. Under the control of our will. Yes, the response which is under the control of our choice, our control, our will, that is called as voluntary nervous system. Yes, I can give you a best example. When you are going to touch a hot object, you hold it like that or suddenly removes your hand voluntarily. What exactly you do? Please do reply me. Yes. What exactly we do? We suddenly remove our hand when we are going to touch a hot object. Exactly? Yes, we do. Yes, whenever something hot is cooking or something hot dish is present there in the kitchen, and without knowing whether it's hot or cold, you went there and touched the utensil. Suddenly what? You remove your hand suddenly or not? Yes, that is up to our will. So, if you wish, you can hold it for a while. It's up to if you can bear that hotness of that utensil. Yes, so it's under our control. And such action when we are removing our hand is called as your reflex action, and such response is called as your reflex arc or reflex action. Hota hai ya nahi? It happens generally. Yes, I can give you another. When a mosquito comes and sits over your hand, suddenly you gave a kick to that mosquito or not? It's a spontaneous action. It's a voluntary actions. Yes, and such actions and such response are called as your reflex action or reflex arc. Simply, if I am going to explain you this thing is that whatever the sense organ has feel it, the hotness which our sense organ or hand felt. Yes, its job is to send the message to the brain, but the message will not be sent to the brain. It will reach up to spinal cord only. Please focus on these lines. The impulse will travel only up to spinal cord, not to the brain. So that's why we show as a very immediate action. Very immediately we hit the mosquito. Very immediately we remove our hand. Why? Because the message doesn't go to the brain. The message goes to the spinal cord only. And the spinal cord replies back through the motor neurons to remove your hand. This exactly happens, and such response is called as your reflex action or reflex arc. Whenever you are coughing, you put your palm over your mouth. Yes. Yes or no? And whenever you are touching a hot object, you are removing your hand. Yes. And when you are yawning, when I am teaching the lesson, you are sleeping, yawning. Yes. So at that time, these are all reflex action, reflex arc, guys. Here the message is not going to travel to reach up to the brain. It will reach up to your spinal cord only, and the spinal cord will send back the message through motor neurons. Message कौन लेकर जाता है? Sensory neuron. Message वापस कौन लेकर जाता है? Motor neurons. We have read it in our last video. So guys, so here क्या होता है? The message reaches up to your spinal cord, not to the brain. And the motor neurons carry back or reply back the message from the spinal cord. That action, that sudden, immediate mechanical actions to a stimuli without the knowledge to the brain is called as your reflex action. Understood, guys? Simply, I will tell you, message is not sent to the brain. Message is sent only to the spinal cord, and the spinal cord replies back to the message. That is what your reflex action or reflex are. Means it's a spontaneous automatic mechanical response to a stimuli without involving the brain. Simply, you can write the definition for your reflex action or reflex arc is there. It's a Spontaneous. What is the definition? I am just speaking the definition, that is the bookish definition. Just please note it down. So it's a spontaneous, immediate, mechanical response to a stimuli without involving the brain is called as reflex arc or reflex act. Here the simple thing, guys, you have to learn is that the message is not sent to the brain. The message is up to our spinal cord, and the spinal cord shows the response to the stimuli. That is what reflex action is. That is what the example I have given, the touching the heart of Zach. Understood? So what is reflex action? The things you have to remember. Message is received up to spinal cord, not to brain. Yes. So very sudden, very automatic. Yes. And mechanical. Yes. Response to a stimuli without involving the brain. This is what you have to remember. This is the most important thing in today's video. Yes. So this is what about your peripheral nervous system. Voluntary nervous system is also called as your somatic nervous system. It's according to our will. And the response shown is called as a reflex action or reflex arc. What is reflex action and what is reflex means? The sudden, immediate, mechanical response to a stimuli without involving the brain. That means message reaches up to the spinal cord. Done. It involves also your sensory neurons as well as the motor neurons. Yes? Clear about your voluntary nervous system? Now let's move on to your involuntary nervous system or automatic nervous system. Of course, it's not under our control. Just I told you. It's not under, I can't make my food digestion as per my will. It's the work of our internal organs. Yes, heart beating, I control the beating. I can't control the beating of the heart. Yes, and whenever we are respiration, during the respiration, the movement of our diaphragm, yes, it's not under our control. So such action comes under your involuntary nervous system or autonomic nervous system. It means the action without our will, without our control, without our will. Such action is called as your involuntary autonomic nervous system. It's not under our control. All the internal activities, we can't control it, we can't handle it, heart beating, heart pumping and everything. So that actions are called as your autonomic nervous system. Oh guys, you understood today's the two divisions of the nervous system, and in the coming video we are going to discuss about the central nervous system, the important one, brain and spinal cord. Until then, please stay at home, revise it properly. I will meet you soon. Take care.